Morning campers, my name's Derek. Welcome to my number 4 video. Today we're going to run through driving tips, driving with your touring caravan. Driving with the caravan on the back can be great fun. It's more interesting than driving solo. There's plenty to think about, much more than when you're just driving with the car on its own. Driving solo, really, to be quite honest, can be a bit boring. I find it a bit boring at times. There's very little to do nowadays in modern cars. I think that's why a lot of people fiddle around with things and as they're driving, and why they think they can use mobile phones, which is not a good idea. There's a few things to be aware of when you're towing. We're just going to quickly run through them. When you're towing, your acceleration will obviously be reduced. So your takeoff will be slower. If you're using a manual car, you'll need to give a little bit more revs, and be prepared to do that to help with taking off. Braking is another thing which will be affected. You'll need a longer braking distance because obviously you're braking with a lot more weight. The ideal setup really is a heavy car and a light caravan, but there are recommendations for the different weights that you can use for car and caravan. Generally the car has to be heavier than the caravan, and the 85% rule applies. If you want to Google it, you can find out more about that, but basically the caravan shouldn't be more than 85% of the weight of the tow car, and it definitely should not be heavier than the tow car. On another point of information, when you brake with a caravan, caravans generally have to have what they call overrun brakes. So as the car brakes, the caravan tends to push the car, and in doing so, it operates an overrun braking system on the caravan, which helps to brake the outfit. When you're driving, you can actually feel that come on at slow speed, and as you take off, you can feel that the brake go off. And obviously, if you look at the tow gear on your caravan, you can see the part where the damper is and the equipment at the front of the caravan. That brings us onto nose weight and stability. Nose weight is something which is affected obviously by how you load the caravan. There's plenty of information on this available. The Caravan Club do a very good course actually, which covers the whole thing for towing and setting up and everything to do with towing the caravan. But basically, if you load too much equipment into the front of the caravan will be nose heavy, and simply if you load too much at the back, the caravan will be nose light. There are recommendations for each caravan how much nose weight is allowed or recommended to go onto the back of the car, and there are pieces of equipment where you can measure this, but obviously when you're on the road, regardless of whether you've measured it or not, you can actually tell by the feel of the vehicle. If the caravan's pitching up and down, front to back, it'll be feeling as though it's pushing the back of the car down and lifting the front of the car up. That's if it's nose light. If it's nose heavy. If it's nose light, it'll feel as though it's picking the back of the car up. Obviously, if you can reload to address this, you'll have a much more stable outfit. It's not a good idea to have an outfit which is out of balance. According to all the books, you need to keep the heavy stuff low down in the caravan and generally over the axle, and that avoids serious problems with either front or back being overweighted. When you're driving, you'll find that some people will be quite good, really, when in the fact that they'll give way to you, and it's always best to be very courteous and to acknowledge. Sometimes, occasionally, they do the opposite. They'll jump in front of you in your braking space, or they'll pull out in front of you because they just assume that you're a slow-moving vehicle. The point to remember is the fact that most people are probably not actually towed with a caravan or not driven anything which is any heavier than just a small hatchback car, and they don't realise that the braking distances are increased. So at the end of the day, always be polite, and but remember, the people in the cars will not necessarily give you special treatment because they're never towed themselves. When you're driving, always use the wing mirrors, and especially when turning left, beware of cyclists coming up the inside, as you would with normal driving, but especially with the caravan on. And obviously make sure that you don't cut the corners. You need to stay fairly as wide as you can, so that the back wheels of the caravan don't go up the curb. Positioning is everything, as in most things in life. You've got to be in the right position. And you need to show your intentions, and with a caravan that involves signalling early. The earlier the better, so that people know exactly what you're doing. There's nothing worse than if somebody's following you and you signal late, and because sometimes car drivers will be a little bit too close, and if you don't signal, then they'll get very upset. A quick bit on manoeuvring when you arrive on site. Quite a lot of people struggle with reversing with the caravan on, but as there's one or two simple guidelines. Again, you need to use your mirrors. You're best having an assistant, but always make sure that the assistant is where you can see them, so they obviously don't run them over, as it were. And if you're backing up in a straight line, if the caravan fills your right hand mirror, steer to the right, and that'll straighten it up. And if the caravan fills the left mirror, steer to the left, and again that will straighten the rig up. And once you get the rig in a turn, you can just leave your lock in that position, and it'll just push the caravan round in a nice arc. So it's just down to practice, really. The more practice you get, the better you get at it. One point worth mentioning: it's well worth backing over your right shoulder. That's generally easier than backing the other way, because you can actually physically see the caravan if you lean, if you look over your right shoulder. When you're on the motorway, obviously beware of crosswinds. These can cause swaying of the caravan. Swaying will be much worse if you're driving fast or too fast for the rig, and in high wind conditions or in a downhill situation. So if you're driving downhill, beware of your speed. If you're driving when it's windy, slow down, and also drive to the left of the carriageway, so as when trucks go past, you don't get too much of a vacuum effect as the trucks shield you from the wind, and then as they pass by, the wind suddenly catches you again and can put you into a sway situation. If your outfit's well loaded and it's stable, and you've got a heavy car and a light caravan, you'll have no problems, and you drive within reasonable speeds. Most new caravans, as far as I know, if not all new caravans, come with an anti-sway device, which also helps with pitching as well. While we're on the subject of on the road, always obey the speed limits. It sounds obvious, but especially with a caravan, breaking speed limits is not a good idea. And if you're driving too fast, the outfit could become unstable, which is not recommended. If you want to go fast, get yourself a sports car and go on a track, or go for a track day. Just pay for one day, drive a fast car around a fast track. That's the way to do it. If you're travelling to an appointment, or if you've got to go into a ferry with your caravan on, always allow plenty of time. nothing worse than rushing. It can be quite dangerous. So allow plenty of time so that you can arrive early, rather than driving along trying to make up lost time. And obviously, if you allow good time, that'll save you panicking if you get in any delays or traffic jams. Hope you enjoyed number 4. It's been good fun making the videos. Drive safely and enjoy caravanning, and I'll see you on the road. Thank you very much and goodbye.